Hello to everybody. Today I'm talking about heuristics. Where is my mouse? Okay. Um, this will be a running gag.
Yeah.
Da, da, da. I want to go back. My name is Michael. I started applied game studies back in 2020. I have several certifications in usability and UX, and I love marketing, gamification, game design, and for the last 5 years, I really um, dived into usability and user experience. And when it comes to my mouse, when it comes to game design, um, one crucial, essential part of designing a game is having playtests. So you want to make sure that your game fits to your audience. But the problem is it's time consuming and also costly. So I want to give you an alternative, and it's called heuristics, where you don't need users or players. Heuristics are a method of solving problems by finding practical ways of dealing with them, learning from past experience. So there are in the world there are a lot of game devs who already met a lot of problems or did already a lot of playtests, and there are heuristics where you can make sure if you meet those heuristics that your game will be quite good. Yeah. So today I'm talking about the 10 usability heuristics from Nielsen. There are a lot of other heuristics, but those 10 are probably the most popular. Um, and you can use it on any system, so it doesn't have to be a game. You can use it for any UI, like also for websites. Um, the first one is visibility of system states. You see a screenshot from Slate Aspire, and you will immediately see, recognize that there are a certain amount of icons and numbers which show you the actual state of the game. So you know, for instance, the health bars of the opponent and of your own character, including the number. You see how much money you have. You see um, the cards. They are highlighted, so it means you can afford them. And you see also on the left side that you have 4 actions out of 3. So it's unusual, but normally you only have 3. And all these icons and numbers show you the actual state of the game. And it's very important for the player and for the user that they don't have to guess. So they find the information right now, what and only the information they also need right now. That's crazy, this animation, but I didn't do that. The second one is match between system and the real world. You see an example from a game called Way of the Hunter. The first release, they you see the menu. You can go through the menu items by clicking Shift or Control. Shift is going to the left and Control is going to the right. So for the player, there is some kind of switching cost because they have to rethink. I have to press a button upside, which is above, to go left, and down to go right. So um, this violates this heuristics, and later on they changed it to a Control and Alt, so the player don't have this switching cost because it's more natural that you click Control for left and Alt for right. Oops. The third one is user control and freedom. Here it's very important that you give the player or the user enough control and freedom so they can, for instance, go back or, yeah, back and forward as they want, and they also can choose their own speed in their game. One example is, for instance, undo button, so that you can avoid that the player makes a mistake, or they regret a turn, so they can undo it, and so you give the player the power to really control the game, and it's not deterministic. Determinic. Um, Here you see, for instance, a screenshot from Demon Loop, where you see the player can go back and forward within the tutorial. So if they misunderstood something, or they want to read again, they always have to control about the game, over the game, and can go back to read again in the tutorial. Number 4, consistency and standards. Some of those heuristics are maybe for you kind of obvious, but there are still a lot of games published on Steam and other platforms which violates those heuristics, and it's for you it's easy to go through with these heuristics on your own through your game and check if some elements of your game violates one of those heuristics. And one of the heuristic is consistency and standards, where you check other games. For instance, the key bindings, what is usual, what is common, where do you press, which button do you use for jump. And normally for Xbox users, you use the A button. You see it on the picture, on the black picture. But there are some games like Mirror's Edge. They put the jump button on the top left, which is really far away from the A button. So there is also, it doesn't mean that it's false or something like that, but it's the player needs to relearn if they play a lot of games where every time they have the jump button on A, and then they have a different game, and now it's somewhere else. It's a good example is many games have their map, world overview or something like that on the button M. So um, here you see on the left side some games where you see the key binding for the map is M, and on the right side you see Way of the Hunter, which is a virtual hunting game like Call of the Wild, the Hunter, and they put the hunting map on tab. So if you know your users, your players, for instance, the Hunter, Call of the Wild, they are players who play the game for several hundreds of hours. So I personally played this game for about 350 hours. And then there is a new game which we are very excited in the community and we want to play it also. And then we have to relearn that we don't press M for the map, we have to press tab. And it wouldn't matter if you can change it in the key bindings, but this this team just locked it. So you are not able to change it. And there M is also not used for other terms in this game. So yeah, could be frustrating for a lot of players. The fifth one, error prevention. In here, you want to check your game if players do stuff or click something where they might get stuck or something like that, and you try to think how you can recover from this error. or how you can implement stuff that the player is not getting stuck. For instance, here you see Public Land Hunter. If you press escape, then you get this dialog. So there is no button with yes or no. You have to guess what to press. So kind of frustrating for the player. And if you want to exit in this game, you press again escape. And if you want to go back to the game, then you press X. So yeah. Recognition rather than recall. You probably see it a lot in AAA games that they have own UI overlay where you always see the common or most used controls you need. For instance, if you're riding a horse, then they will show you shortly or for a longer time the controls, so then you don't have to recall how it works. Yeah. And it works very well if you use icons, because for us humans it's easier to recognize shapes and rather than whole words. Flexibility and efficiency of use. This is also very important for games, especially if you have players or if you have a game where you can play for hundreds of hours. Then I'm not talking about games where you are finished after two hours. There shouldn't be such a problem. But if you have games where you can play very long, like Counter-Strike, yeah, after a certain amount of hours, the players need some fast track or something, a fast mode, so they can skip stuff and move on in the game easily. So, for instance, in deck builder, you don't want to wait until the opponent plays their card or something is going around. You can skip those steps. And you can also use, for instance, quick save and quick load. It's very common for games, but you also should mention it in the key bindings. Otherwise, players who play the game and they don't know this hack, they will never know it. Number 8, aesthetics and minimalistic design. Okay, this headline says everything. On the left side, you see Mario Kart, where you have all the information you need for this game. So you see on the left bottom corner the place, you see a little map, and you see also on the map where you are and where your opponents. You see on the left top the weapons, and on the left bottom you see also the lab and I think coins. That's it. There is no other information. You don't need, for instance, there is no time. Yeah, you don't need time or a clock or something like that. On the other hand, you see World of Warcraft, which is totally crazy. It's cluttered, but most of these informations are really needed in the game, and you have to somehow make decisions on your UI, which elements, which information is valuable for the player right now, and you also have to get rid of stuff which is not relevant at the moment. Number 9 and 10, and then we're done. Help users recognize, diagnose, and recover from errors. Yeah, don't use errors like this. If you have, because the users cannot, the players cannot do anything about that. They cannot report it or something like that. So if you have error messages or somehow your game breaks make sure that you have a certain way that the player can recover from it by sending a bug report or going to join us on Discord and tell us your problem, because then you as a game dev has also the opportunity to yeah, fix this problem. Otherwise, if you have error messages like this, it doesn't help the developers. And help and documentation is also very important, that the users, if they're stuck, they always should somehow have an area where they can look up stuff to yeah, go on in the game. Yeah. So that's basically it. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. It needs a little bit experience to use this method. So if you have, you can choose a little game which just needs 1 or 2 hours to play through, and you can um, take one of these 10 heuristics and go each step through the game and check if somehow the game violates this certain heuristics. And after several games, you already have you're already experienced that you can use it on your own, and you don't have to look up the heuristics because you already know it by your own and say, ah, okay, this is not good, we have to change it. Yeah. So, questions? Yes?
Okay, I have a question. Usually, how do you go about trying to measure these heuristics when you're still developing? Because, of course, if you play test your own game, you might think, oh, it's everything so clear because I am the one who made it. I understand what everything is. I understand everything that I have to do. Like, is there any mindset you sort of have to put yourself into to actually be able to self criticize and say, okay, maybe I could improve this. I could improve some other thing,
Yeah.
maybe.
Thank you for the question. Yeah, I think the first thing is that you are aware about this. So um, it's not that easy because, as you said, you do your game and you're somehow, yeah, biased, and therefore playtest is very good because there are other people telling you that your game is crap or perfect. Yeah. And but with these heuristics, it's if you're already aware about these heuristics, there are many other heuristics. Then you can also focus on one part of your game that you say, okay, for instance, you have a question like, do the player have all information at a certain point in the game? And then you go through the game and always have this question on your mind and go through the UI elements, and then you note down, okay, here we miss something like that. And as I said, a little bit experience is needed. You cannot do it very easily without experience. I do a lot of reports for heuristics, and after every report, I learned again new stuff which I can improve, or metrics where I can say, okay, um, um, to improve a game, or to find more findings on the reports, which helps the game developers. I hope this answers somehow.
It does.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And what's also helping is um, just watching videos about usability and user experience also helps a lot to get this mindset and have this all the time back in your head.
Thank you.
I'm in such a comfortable position. I have no question to say. I just wanted to add, and correct me if I'm wrong. I think the heuristics, while they do not allow you to completely objectively measure if your game ticks off everything, because again it's complicated. but they allow you to more objectively measure it. Like when you went through those 10 items, I could immediately see which ones my game still doesn't do. So knowing that, you can immediately say no, 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 and you know, okay, there's still areas to improve.
I think this
It's almost objectively measured.
it's a very good comment, because when I started with going deep into usability and user experience, I had this question: how can I measure it? How everything is? It's like art, yeah. The one likes, the other one dislikes, but it's not. You really can measure it, or using techniques where you can say, okay, where you don't have the problem um, where to start, yeah, because you have those 10, and you can go through those 10 heuristics, and this helps to improve your game, yeah. So one last short question, then we're over.
If we have a short question, yes.
Well, I don't know if it's a short question.
I say yes.
You brought a lot of examples of video games, and of course it's most important there. But do you know if this is done in business software as well? I mean, anyone who ever used SAP probably found some
Yeah.
checkboxes that didn't check out. So
I have my own theory on that, because business applications have to be as they are now, because companies won't buy it if they're fancy. That's it. Yeah. So there are a lot of startups who want to change this, but if you look at SAP or Microsoft software,
well, I get it that in business software you have a lot of cases that you have to cover, but these heuristics are also about efficient workflow. So I don't get it why an inefficient software would be better than an efficient one. Sorry.
Faster and cheaper.
yeah.
Good
Uh,
that is SAP did.
I already mentioned it today. The marketing and user experience are those parts which are easily to get rid of in a game, and if you don't put effort in those two, then you will have exactly this. So we will end
Thanks very much.
and hand over to Pascal.